Agape Food Bank breaks a pottery record and hosts its annual Empty Bowls charity event. The Imperial Symphony Orchestra makes its 50th anniversary debut, and the Polk County History Center hosts its 5th annual Festival of Wreaths. All of this is coming up on Out and About Art. Hello and welcome to Out and About Art, where I show you the type of art that you can find right here in Polk County. I'm your host, Dion Spires. Agape Food Bank recently held its Empty Bowls charity event here at Polk State College to help raise money for their hunger relief efforts. The fundraiser included a dinner with entertainment by local musicians and an auction featuring local artists and pottery bowls. Prior to the event, local ceramicist Tabitha Pennekamp broke the record for the most hours spent on a pottery wheel throwing bowls for the event. Check out this recap and more on Tabitha's story.
A few years back, when I was at Florida Atlantic, I had decided that I really wanted to throw bowls for a really long time. I've been involved with this Empty Bowls project, and what it is it's ceramicists who feel the need to do something in their community, and they contribute their time and their energy and their materials to make bowls. And the bowls all go toward either a homeless shelter, a food bank, or a soup kitchen. And they're all supposed to raise awareness for hunger and elevate the conversation of what to do to prevent hunger. I've been doing this since undergrad in 2005 with Lakeland University. It's just something potters do, and so the ceramics class that I was taking was doing it, and at that time that Empty Bowls event was raising money for a soup kitchen, and you know, it's just a good way for beginning potters to get on the wheel and start making bowls. And when I got to grad school, I thought, what a better way than to do it for a really long time and just, you know, put all my energy and effort into this one thing for several hours. And I was looking up records, and I found a record for 18 hours. When I moved here, I talked to Kim Long and wanted to get involved with Lakeland's Empty Bowls event, and we started discussing how many bowls I was going to contribute, and she was just thinking one, and I was thinking hundreds. We decided I was going to do it this year, and basically the hours were supposed to be 18, and I was supposed to throw nonstop. I think it was a total of 24 hours, 19 minutes, and 55 seconds. So I was actually trying to finish all the bowls that I had thrown. So the way I did it was, instead of just throwing and then not being able to finish the product, what you have to do is you throw a bowl and then you wait for it to dry so that you can trim the bottom. And then what I like to do is I like to do some decoration and some surface treatment before I fire it the first time. So once I finished them, they were trimmed and they were a little bit decorated. What happened is we took them straight from Agape to Jen Ken Kilns. And Jen Ken Kilns has been so supportive and so encouraging, and just their willingness to give time, and they gave the clay to do the event, and they're doing all of the firings for the pieces. So once they're done, then they go to Kim at Agape. And Kim will take the bowls, and she has the event, the Empty Bowls event. The reactions that I received from people, they were a little bit more like, what are you doing? I think a lot of them saw what I was doing and they thought I was a little bit crazy, rightfully so. I know that a lot of the people that I talked to were just kind of fascinated with the whole process. They again, I think it was raising awareness of pottery as well. I don't think people see people throwing on the wheel that often, and I don't think they understand what all that entails. So seeing a ball of clay being shaped into a bowl and then being trimmed and then being decorated and then not even being finished yet, people don't understand that the clay has to go through several processes before it's actually finished and it can be on your dinner table. So that was really interesting. educating people on pottery, but also educating them on the Empty Bowls event. A lot of the people that I talked to didn't even know about the event, which is interesting because they were at Agape. Agape's event, they send out flyers and they send out information, but maybe those flyers and information are going to people who they typically go every single year, and so maybe this will open the doors to more people who weren't even aware of the event. Honestly, I think I want to do this next year and make it an annual thing. And I don't know, who knows, maybe go for 30 hours, maybe, and then each year just try to keep going longer and longer and see how many bowls I can make.
Well, on September 10th, we celebrated a lot of accomplishments over the past year, huge donor recognition. We had a freezer donated to refrigerator trucks, and we took that occasion to not only say thank you to the donors, but also thank you to the Lord for the abundance of generosity that we received. Mosaic had purchased a truck for us. The McGee Tire family had purchased a truck for us, and the George Jenkins Foundation had funded a freezer. In recognition of Hunger Action Month and all of the abundance of gifts, we had an event, which also was a precursor to the Empty Bowls event. We were very grateful for Tabitha and her efforts. Also, Gen Ken Kilns owner Randy Glotfelty, who he himself is a renowned potter, along with other artists in the community, came alongside her and were throwing bowls off and on throughout that period of time. And Arts Ensemble, which is on the east side of the county versus the west side of the county, Arts Ensemble, which is located in the Winter Haven, Eloise area, those artists came alongside and they did bowl painting during the event. Those bowls that were painted during that time also were then fired by Gen Ken Kilns, and the results of their efforts during that event were on display and for auction at the Empty Bowls Gala in November.
The Empty Bowls event is a fundraiser for Catholic charities, specifically for their Agape food bank, where local artists lend their talents and they design these beautiful bowls. And we come from all over the community and fight over them and bid on them, all for a good cause focused on feeding the hungry and the needy here in our community.
We were gratified with a large turnout. It's a hectic time of year, November. There are myriad opportunities to become distracted with social obligations. People carved out time for us, and we were extremely gratified with that. We had a great donor turnout, great art, and everything was really well received. We had quite a number of art pieces that flowed out the other evening. We're happy to say that every single auction item sold, which is a very unusual event, but we were happy to say that, and I think it speaks to the quality of the art as well as to the generosity of the donors.
At Harrison School for the Arts. She brought inspiring vision and strategy to our board. She continually
of all of them. But children show up at school not ready to learn. And a child who is not ready to learn.
Every dollar that we raised that evening and every in-kind donation we received that kept our costs down actually benefited children in Polk County. We have a childhood backpack program. We send weekend meals home for 1,170 students every week. We're across 20 schools in Polk County. At the cost of about $7.50 a weekend, we send food home, which provides food for the children and supplemental food for their families. Chances are, if the child's hungry, there are other family members that are hungry too. And so we do our best to regularly send supplemental food home. That equation, that $7.50, was the basis for how we raised money, breaking it down into per meal, per child, per weekend, really resonated with our donors, and we had a very successful evening.
With 24 hours spent on a pottery wheel and a successful auction, it's safe to say that everyone's hard work was time well spent, and they certainly raised awareness for their cause. To keep up with Agape Food Bank and their future events, check them out on the web at cflcc.org/agape-food-bank. Music lovers were in for a treat last month when our local symphony orchestra made their 50th season debut. The Imperial Symphony Orchestra performed their opening concert right here at the Yuki Theater in the Lakeland Center. They featured a brand new piece written specifically for that performance and also featured young local talent. Check out what they had in store.
In 1965, Ken Anderson and Jay Irwin got together and realized that our community needed classical music, and they had a group of friends that was willing to perform. And so there were about 30 folks with Jay Irwin as conductor, and they played their first concert in May of 1965. And one of the fun facts that people like to remember is that they had a little glass jar out in front of the lobby, and that's how that just said donations. That's how they funded the orchestra for quite some time.
Yeah, I have seen it grow, mainly, not necessarily the number of people. I think the size has kind of maintained itself, but the quality. And I have found that more players from around the Central Florida area, being Orlando, Tampa, have gravitated towards this orchestra just because of the exciting things that we do and the programs that we present.
It's interesting because they're primarily a volunteer community orchestra, and generally when I think of a community orchestra, I don't think of an orchestra that plays particularly well. But I've been very pleasantly surprised with the level of the orchestra here. It's just, they play like any other professional orchestra.
The government and the business leaders here in Polk County have been so intentional about the growth that we're experiencing, and so it is really important to not only focus on the business side of things, but to understand how the arts community benefits the business community. The symphony is incredibly important to Polk County. Arts and creative industries are in the top 5 drivers attracting industries and relocation to areas. It is such an important part of building creativity, and creativity builds innovation. I hear all the time how excited people are to learn about Lakeland and Polk County, and that we have a symphony here, because they're so accustomed to that being only in larger areas. And one of the special things about that is that it's a volunteer orchestra, you know, and the orchestra members have a care and a passion for bringing classical music to the community, and our board members do as well. And that's what keeps us going and makes us excited about the future. Exciting program. This is, of course, our 50th anniversary celebration, and along with that, we've got an incredible piece of music that was written by Christopher Lowry. It was written just for our 50th anniversary, and so it's never been heard before on any stage. So that is incredibly exciting for me, and I think a lot of our orchestra members too. And Christopher Lowry is here with us and will actually be joining the symphony in the viola section for the latter half of the performance, which will be Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 4.
We decided to commission a piece, and it was my suggestion to get Chris, because we had played one of his pieces about 3 years ago, and we liked it. We liked his style, and that was when he was 15 years old. He wrote that piece, so we did that.
Well, the funny thing is, the first piece that he did, I wrote when I was 18, but I started it when I was 14. But it was only a 5.5-minute piece. This piece is almost 13 minutes, and it took about 2 months of really concentrated composition. It depends on the piece, but for this one, I kind of sketched all the ideas that I had out on paper, and just kind of tried to use a little bit more of my own instinct to figure out how to get it to sound. And then I put it into the computer afterward, and then kind of make adjustments as necessary. And
he actually, he does it on a program called Sibelius, which prints out the parts like a published piece of music. I kind of got the impression that when he asked me to compose the piece, he wanted it to be pretty much the same style as the first piece, which is just kind of this heroic sounding, epic, larger than life kind of sound. His music appeals to the masses. I mean, 20th century music, or now 21st, gets a bad rap because it's very hard to listen to, but his is very easy to listen to. He was telling me today, we went to lunch, and he has a love of video games. So you hear that in his music. It's very heroic, it's very listenable, very exciting, and it evokes many moods, this particular piece. It's very heavy in percussion. He loves percussion. He loves orchestral colors, and so we'll hear a lot of that tonight during that first number.
Andy was a student at Harrison School for the Arts. He studied under Rebecca Hawbury there. He met Robert McDonald and started to study with him as well, and really kind of fell back in love with the piano at that point in time.
Well, my English teacher in middle school encouraged me, when she found out I played the piano, to continue study and to seek out Robert McDonald at the Florida Southern College. She said, he's a very special teacher, and if you are interested, you should audition for him. So that's how we started rolling, and I auditioned for him, I played for him, and he was kind enough to accept me as his pupil. I was home during the holidays. I went to the college to see Paula Parche, who was one of the pupils of Mr. McDonald as well. And I just dropped by to say hello. On the way out, she said, has Mark Feeling contacted you about playing with the ISO? I said, oh, I don't know what's going on. And she said, well, they're needing someone to perform the Schumann in the 50th season. And she was asked to give a recommendation. She said, I recommended you. And so shortly after, I received emails from Mark and also the ISO, and we set the things in motion afterwards. Oh, it's a lot of fun as a soloist because you are expected and allowed a certain time frame to rehearse with them, but because this is hometown, I know the conductor, and we had a sit down beforehand, and he even called the orchestra in earlier so we can have a little extra time, and so it was very good, and it made me feel more comfortable.
This season is about memories, a lot of it, and where we've come in 50 years and how we've grown. So we'll retread some steps from the past, and we'll also talk about our future.
The community of Lakeland has been absolutely tremendous to the orchestra and to the musicians to bring us to this point in our history and set us up for an amazing next 50 years as well.
If you missed their opening performance, don't worry, the ISO has plenty more performances to come, with even a few free community events in the works. For a full calendar of events, visit their website at www.imperialsymphony.org. The Polk County History Center gave the community an opportunity to not only see art, but get involved with creating it firsthand. They hosted their 5th annual Festival of Wreaths event this year, where they gave community members an opportunity to decorate wreaths to submit for the silent auction, where patrons could purchase their favorite ones. The auction began on November 20th, and they had a special reception to kick off the event. Take a look at what they had in store.
This is our 5th year of doing the wreaths. It's a great event. The money from the auctions benefits the programming here at the History Center, so that's a win-win situation. Something new and improved that began last year is that the online bidding for the wreaths is taking the place of actually having clipboards here with people to write in silent auction bids. So that's a lot more efficient process of doing the auction.
It really, for us, is a special tradition. It's a way to welcome in the holidays and kind of bring some of that warmth of the season into the Polk County History Center. And the goal of it is really just to bring more awareness to the History Center. And it's amazing the additional people that come to realize that we're here. And we have exhibits, and we have a children's room where they could play and touch and pretend that they are an old cattleman, or even put on a puppet show, because we have a nice puppet gallery in there. It's kind of a team effort. The entire staff gets on board with the Festival of Wreaths. We first send out an invitation to participate, and on my end, I actually took that invitation to one of the meetings that we go to where we it's the plan meeting, the Polk Lodging and Attractions Network, and I put it out to the different members of that meeting. We had participation from Legoland this year, which was a big yay, because the holiday's all about children and they get that. And so I kind of took it out to them and presented it and asked them to participate, and then as they started coming in, we each kind of take responsibility of tracking as they come in. Okay, so this one came in, and so that way we know which wreath belongs to which person, and people get the proper credit. And then it is an entire team effort to get all the wreaths hung. You want them to be all at the same height, and then there's a whole artistic level that's involved in it. This one looks best here, that one looks best there. Let's move this one. Oh, that one's a little crooked. So it's very much a team effort to get them out, get them back in, and get them hung up and properly tagged, because we want to make sure everybody gets credit for what they do, because it's amazing, wonderful work that comes back to us. The entries that we got back in are the wreaths. It was a wonderful cross-section of individuals, organizations, and constitutional offices. And we have some very whimsical ones that remind you of elves, like Marsha Fox brought in an elf. I mean, it's a wreath. It's giant. It's got little legs and a little hat, and we call it Alabaster Snowball, and he's the administrator of the naughty and the nice list. And so if you're more whimsical, that one is just wonderful. But the Fort Meade Historical Society brought in this traditional wreath that has accents of gold and bronze in it, and it just kind of gives you that classy, you know, I'm going to have a white Christmas, even though we're in Florida, and there's going to be a fire, and we're all going to gather around the table, and it just brings back some of those just Christmas of yore type memories. They're all unique and they're all beautiful in their own ways. I don't envy Santa having to pick 10 of his own that he puts his seal on, but I think I pretty much agree with everyone that he kind of clued in on.
The Bartow Police Department obviously is a part of the city of Bartow, and we wanted to adequately represent them. The Polk Historical Museum is such a wonderful part of our community here that we just wanted to be a part of it, and when they invited us, we accepted. This is our second year. Last year we got one of the Santa's Choice Awards, and we were really excited about that. This year there's been quite a bit of controversy on both sides of the law enforcement community, and I just wanted to reflect that I'm very proud of my husband, who is a police chief, and all of his men and all the rest of the law enforcement community that works so hard to protect us.
It's really becoming a very community event. Businesses, elected officials, and individuals, people that live in Bartow or live in Lakeland. We had some people come in from Lakeland that wanted to participate. And so it's a growing tradition, and we're excited to see people knowing about it and wanting to participate.
I definitely agree that it brings the community and it brings the county together. Even though the building sits in Bartow, we're a county museum, so by doing the Festival of Wreaths, we reach out to all the historic organizations in the county rather than just in Bartow, and people from all four corners come to decorate and participate.
If you are interested in the silent auction, there's still time to get involved. The auction runs until December 12th and it's open to the public. For more information or to place your bid, visit www.polkhistorycenter.org and click on the Festival of Wreaths icon, or give them a call at 863-534-4386. That's all I have in store for this month, but you can catch this episode on PGTV Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 and 9, or catch previous episodes on the Polk Government YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in next month as I take you out to see more art out and about.